believe the Miami Marlins stole the spotlight? That's right, we have a walk-off no-hitter. Hard to believe, but that's what happened to Henderson Alvarez. He's on the mound in the ninth, gets the strikeout, celebrates like he won the game. 9 innings, no hit, but it's 0-0. They need to get a run at the bottom of the ninth, and they got him loaded. And they will eventually score on this wild pitch. A no-hitter, walk-off, wild pitch win. Miami 1, Detroit nothing. So it looked like this. Henderson Alvarez joins these other guys in a team in which they pitch the no-hitter and then win in walk-off fashion. Cordova and Rincon did it for the Pirates in '97. Other names on the list, Virgil Trucks for the Tigers in '52. But that's an individual effort. Sunday was truly about the team game. The Rangers, the Indians, and the Rays story on Baseball Tonight. Baseball Tonight is presented by Chevrolet.
Pressure isn't defined by the situation. It's defined by the player. Some get the hit, some make the out. Simple as that. And the difference isn't knowing how to handle pressure. The difference is knowing how to win.
Pressure like the guys that are out here with me, John Kruk, Barry Larkin, Kurt Schilling. I'm Carl Ravitch, Tim Kirkshin, Buster Olney, Richard Durrett. Anyone we can find is going to be on this program. We're here until 8:30, and then from 8:30 to 9 over on ESPN. How do you deal with pressure this time of the season? I mean, was there a mechanism you actually used?
I always assumed everybody else was afraid of it. I loved it. I embraced it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You got to make it as normal as possible. You got to be in position to take advantage of the guy that makes the mistake. You can't make that mistake.
Same routine as the regular season. Game 1 to game 163.
And I was the opposite. I knew there was going to be more energy, more adrenaline. I tried to use that to my advantage because I felt like I'd be doing better if I could.
Cleveland was in the driver's seat. If they won, they knew they would be in the playoffs. Texas, they needed to win. They also needed Tampa Bay to lose. Tampa Bay needed to win and hope Texas would lose. Otherwise, we get ourselves a one-game playoff tomorrow. We'll start it all with Joe Madden and the Rays. They're trying to get on top early. Their game started early, and that's James Loney, who's delivered all season 1-0 Rays. This, of course, against Toronto.
He certainly has delivered all season long, and it's about scoring early and trying to put the pressure on the other team, which they were able to do.
Not only put it on the other team, but put it on Cleveland and put it on Texas. Longoria sends one to the track in right center, and Joe Madden's Rays got themselves a 2-0 lead. Later in the first, 2 outs now for Delman Young. Rays again know if they win, they'll at the worst force themselves into a one-game play-in.
He's had some big postseasons, Delman Young.
3-zip. Now we're going to have a little meeting on the mound.
The big thing for Tampa here is you put yourself in a position, even though you're going to possibly play a game, an extra game, you could possibly start to align some bullpen stuff in a game that could have gone to the wire.
They could have, and they could have, but in the end, they wouldn't be able to do that stuff. Neil Wagner in to face Jose Lobaton. Rays are all over this one. They're up 5-0. They lost yesterday. The other 2 won. They lost yesterday. So Sunday off to a really, really good start. 9th hitter of the inning is Yunel Escobar. They're going to win like 30-0 here and just end this thing.
Probably.
Yeah. That's how it felt.
They're on the way.
They got a 6-0 lead.
And this is where you have to give Toronto credit. A lot of teams, when you're in last place, you can just lay down and say, okay, we've had enough. They fought back.
We'll get back to that game in a second. We're in Minnesota now, where the Indians already know the Rays are winning 6-0. But Cleveland's a game ahead of those 2 teams. They win, they're in.
How do you stop him?
You can't. They're going to rename him Nick Swinner, because all he does is win.
Well, you want to score early, and that's what they were able to do. What's his name?
Nick Swinner.
No, they're not going to do that.
I don't think they're going to do that. No.
Swish is 27th of the year. It's 2-zip. Meantime, we go back to Target Field 18 minutes later. Longoria hit one on the wall. Kevin Pillar, I should say, in Toronto, hit the wall. Escobar's in. It's 7-0 Tampa. So Cleveland's now leading. Tampa's up 7-zip. Matt Moore pitching for the Rays. Really? 7-zip, and it's a jam.
You know, sometimes guys, and I'll let Shill speak more to this, some guys cannot pitch with the 7.
But you know what? He's a young pitcher. He gets into the 6 and 7-0. As a young pitcher, sometimes you try to go into a mode where you conserve pitches and you let the game get away.
All right, guys, now we go to Texas, and at least the Rangers can see that the Blue Jays have scored some runs. They really are rooting hard for a Tampa Bay loss. And now it really goes bad for them. They fall behind 1-0 on Mike Trout's home run. It traveled 435 feet. Back to Minnesota. Cleveland's got a 2-0 lead. Check that. They now have a 3-0 lead.
Well, this is what they've done all throughout the season, is put pressure on the defense, doing the small ball. You saw Nick Swisher hit the home run earlier. That's how they produce their runs.
So at this point, Cleveland is winning. Tampa Bay's got a big lead, but it's starting to slip a little bit. This was 20 seconds later. The Blue Jays keep pounding away. It's now 7-4, and Joe Madden has had enough of the Matt Moore thing.
A lot of people thought Toronto was going to be a team to reckon with in the East. They got off to a slow start. They didn't quite match up to what the expectations, but they are a talented team.
They are. Joel Peralta into pitch. That's not helping. He walks Moises Sierra. Madden's back on the mound. We got to win this game. We've got to win this game.
Yeah. He was waiting. That was get these guys fired up a little bit. He wanted the umpire to get out there.
Good with the manager in a key game getting thrown out.
There's a situation right there. Really.
Adam Lind up the middle. Escobar himself.
Huge play right there. All about the shift in the right position, right up the middle. That's a base hit all the way. Turns into a double play.
So Tampa Bay still up 7-4. It would get a little closer, though, in the 8th inning. They brought in Fernando Rodney. He's in a jam. Jose Reyes, trouble.
Well, Fernando Rodney was throwing 97 to 100 miles an hour. You just have to question yourself with that Bugs Bunny changeup. How does he get hit?
Well, he's throwing. He was throwing 100. He wasn't pitching.
It's now 7-5 in Texas. They're certainly excited by what the Blue Jays are doing. And now in a 1-0 game, Cole Calhoun goes to the wall and makes the catch. So Texas is going to stay down 1. 10 seconds later, we go back to where Fernando Rodney is on the mound. And this isn't going well at all for Tampa Bay. Blue Jays have now cut it to 1, 7-6. They're getting really excited in Texas. Maybe the Blue Jays will come all the way back and win this thing and eliminate the Rays if we win. This is Carlos Santana. Cleveland's having no problem at all.
Cleveland has had no problem. They've won 10 in a row. This team has been on absolute fire, clicking in all cylinders, getting the pitching, timely hitting, everything.
Playing two pretty good teams to get your mojo going with the White Sox and the Twins.
All they've done is win here in the last 10 games.
Right.
To the 9th in Toronto, Ryan Goins. The comeback is going to stop there, and so's the game. The Rays know they will at least play in a play-in game, and if Texas loses, they'll go to Cleveland in the wild card game. It's up to the Rangers now to come back, and they're threatening in the 5th. Greg Gentry's been really good, and they're talking about bringing Nelson Cruz back.
He's been doing it all defensively. He's got a lot of speed, stealing the bases, and coming up with big hits right there.
Texas on top 2-1. Yu Darvish, 5 2/3 and done.
Yeah, curious move. About mid-8, 84 pitches.
He brings in the lefty Neil Costin. That's a good job by Hamilton on a high fastball 1-2 to deliver, and the Angels are going away easily. 2-2. Again, Tampa Bay's already won. The Indians, I don't think the Indians were paying attention to anybody but themselves.
Indians are paying attention to this. Michael Bourne trying to steal a base, and that hammy grabs him.
And with Cleveland already assured of a at least play-in game, if not a wild card game, losing Michael Bourne for a postseason for any period of time is going to really be costly. He had to leave the game. 7 minutes later, we go back to Texas, and the Rangers are threatening in the 6th. This is huge for the home folks. Giovanni Soto delivers. Beltre also grabbed his hamstring. He's been grabbing it for about 5 years.
Long season for him.
Rangers got a 3-2 lead. Cleveland trying to seal the deal with Masterson on the mound, and they do. Cleveland wins. They'll host the wild card game. They did their job. What a job from Terry Francona turning this ship around.
And they have been good. Last week and a half, 2 weeks, this team has been playing flawless baseball.
And that's about right. Flawless baseball. So Texas is the lone team still playing, and Adrian Beltran is banged up hamstring go yard. So at this point, it looks like all three of the teams are going to win, and Texas and Tampa Bay would play in a one-game play-in game tomorrow. It hasn't been so easy for Texas to close games out, but they do here. And the Rangers and Rays both win like they had to. They'll play in a one-game play-in game tomorrow. The Indians will wait the winner of that one. These are the three. By one, the Rays hold off the Blue Jays in a game. Madden gets thrown out. Moore starts and gets into the 6th inning, but he walked 3. Rangers win. Darvish gets into the 6th inning. He strikes out 8, and they get the victory. And the Indians just looked really solid the entire game. Kipnis has a couple of hits. Jimenez was outstanding again. But in the end, this is about Nick Swisher.
Just to be able to do it with this group and the resurrection, 96 wins to 96 losses to 92 wins, just to be able to be part of this, hopefully changing the city, the organization, the way everybody thinks about us, and just to be in this spot right here, man. I'm just so honored to be here with these guys because this year has been so awesome.
We did it. I mean, as an organization, I couldn't be so much more pleased than to be able to say that the Indians are winners, and together we really did it.
A lot of we and together, I mean, that's what you want, right?
That's what he does.
What does he do? What leads to his...
He makes players want to please him. He makes players want to play for him and care about his opinion of them. Roster full of guys.
You mentioned near flawless. The Indians of 2013 win their last 10, and my goodness, 21-6 in September. That gets them into the postseason.
Boom to the hey, all you sports fans out there, to you, the individuals, part of the collective. Out there in the tubosphere, welcome to the One Man Sports Rant. I am your host, Will, the alternative split-finger fastball, ESPN Sports Thrill. Hey, this is a rare show where I'm not wearing my Corey Hart sunglasses at night. Doing a little post-game or clip discussion. Who knew that the American League wild card race, you may have noticed this shirt, going to do a full-on spread. Let me rephrase that. Full-on shot of it at the end of the show. Let's see from a few of our Pi Kappa Alpha House sweethearts. U of U chapter Alpha Tau. But this is not one of those college sports events that I'm covering, but hey, it's a part of the regular shtick here. Alright, so this being a pro bono sports show, my sponsor is the DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Covers the fair use, standard, minimal use, and derivatives. So all the video highlights courtesy to ESPN and Major League Baseball, the respective teams, everything else to the OMSR. Alright, so you may have noticed, you know, I know it's 4 sizes too small. I'm 6'3" and 250. Give me a break. This is meant for a dude at 150 or even better, a gal at 120. But this shirt is so old, and it's pertinent to the fact of, you know, we have many props around here that I try to sport on each particular show when it becomes pertinent. So when the Indians were actually in this position, again, I'm going to do the full-on shot at the end. It's what the movie Major League is based on when the Indians were in this position. Was in the early 90s. The tag says made in the USA, which takes me to the sports rant of the day, or the segment, as it were. You're still paying the same price for shirts as this shirt cost in 1992, right? 25 bucks, 30 bucks. People who are making it ain't seeing that money. So all of these free trade agreements, don't even get me started on the politics of that. You can check out the Politichi playlist on this channel. There's like something coming up that's going to be even 10 times more devastating than NAFTA was. What is it called? The Trans-Pacific Pact. TPP, they're calling it. It's on the Paul Tai Chi. Check it out. The Ed Show on MSNBC. He does a good job of pointing these things out. All right, let's get back to baseball. So who knew that it was going to come down to this? Because really, for a while, it's been about the Pirates, the Reds, and the Cardinals. Suddenly, it's about the Rays, the Rangers, and the Indians. So we'll see how it goes down tomorrow. Pretty cool stuff. And, yeah, if you've been, I know some of my sons I'm talking to, whom there really aren't that many of, but they sub because we've been covering baseball. I have been covering baseball. There was a we last year, but, I'm talking to you, Lee, and Daryl. Haven't had a whole lot of help this year, which is to say none since college football started. What does it matter? All right, it's a one-man outfit for the most part. It started that way. It'll finish that way. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? By the way, this is the inaugural baseball. Check it out. Total collector's item right there. 62 Houston Astros. When the Astros were incorporated in Houston or moved to Houston. I don't know. Per se. Some of you out there may know. You're really up on baseball trivia. But I suspected that was when the Astros were formed. That's the baseball for them. See, we got all kinds of problems going on. And I'm totally out of problems now. Alright. See from Kimpok here, the oracle to the sports gods. He's 24-5. Ask him a question about UW going down to Stanford. When it comes to the World Series, he's pretty good with baseball. Some of this record goes back to last year's MLB playoffs. Don't have enough subs to make it worth the while to go into it all the time because it's a 3-minute bit, the E-Jing. Why am I doing this? No flip comments allowed on this channel. I, like Reese Davis, from College Football Final, run a kid-friendly, G-rated show. No flip comments allowed. None of that back and forth salty language going on this channel. Alright. Thanks for watching. We've got the Roger Dodger and the LA Dodgers in the playoffs. It's going to be an interesting postseason in the major leagues, you have to admit. Alright. Again, no silly DUIs while you're out there, especially with baseball. You knock it back, 6 beers for a 2-0 game. Well, then don't go driving around. Nothing wrong with that. Just don't go driving around. Leave the keys in the cabinet. Later days, more signature plays.